Hey guys, how's it going? I know it's been a good couple of days without a proper XV500 video, the coffee racer build. But I've been away for a few days and I've been drinking for another few days, so I can't be in two places at the same time, you know what I mean? But I'm back now, working on the XV on the Yamaha tonight. But before we go there, I just want to say special thanks to John, who lives in Cambridge. He found me over the YouTube channel and he popped over, brought me a few beers, we have a chat, so it's very much appreciated. And he mentioned one thing that got me thinking actually, that many of you sent me a message and or dropped me a comment. What John said, and as many of you are saying, that watching some of my videos inspires you to get a bike project. To get an older bike or some kind of a donor bike, strip it completely down and build something completely different out of it. And if that is the case, this is fantastic, you know. I couldn't encourage you more to do so, because it's not only very satisfying, but it's a great process to learn working on the bike, on your bike, or anything else really mechanical you want to do. Whether that process involves just changing the handlebars or complete subframe modification or something even completely different. That's fantastic. I mean, look at that place, yeah, it's a simple garage. I'm renting with a friend of mine. I don't have any specific tools. Probably the most complex tool I've got is this old welder, which is only a hobby welder. It costs us probably like 150 quid or something like that. So that's not really, it's not really breaking the budget. And obviously I've got selection of hammers and spanners and sockets and screwdrivers and everything else, and beer. But my point is, you don't need to be OCC Garage or any other fancy Discovery Channel TV show to do what you want to do. You just need a space, a small space with electricity ideally, angle grinder, welder would be helpful, and some tools, and then anything else you can do yourself. You can learn. If you don't know how to do it, you watch the YouTube video, or you research that online, and you go for it. And that is my thought for the day. If you think my videos and anybody videos inspire you to do so, don't sit on your ass and just think about it. Go ahead and do it. Get yourself a donor bike. I mean, it's all about bikes really, isn't it? Get yourself a donor bike and just strip it down, you know. If the worst can happen, you put it all back together, and even that will give you an extra skill, you know. So go ahead. Enough talk. I drink some beer and we get back on the project. I'll show you something interesting today. Right, remember this? It's a handlebars I made for well, I wouldn't call it handlebars. It's a tube. It's a piece of pipe. I bent in two places over here. So just temporarily to put in a bike, to give me kind of an idea how the levels look like, because I just hated that fucking T-bar kind of ape hanger thing that completely didn't fit that bike at all. Somebody previously put them on and I just needed to get rid of them. So I just put this on, and that wasn't too bad. That gave me the right angle, the right idea how the lines should look like. But I wanted something a bit more not so simple, a bit more sophisticated. So I was searching the internet all over the place, and I found this. They in a sock. You remove the sock and you can straight away what's happening here. It's Clubman bars or Ace bars, or you name it, you know, they got different names. Coffee Racer classic bars, but they're not just regular Ace bars or Coffee Racer bars. They're not dropped. You can see they completely straight this way, and I think they call them high level Ace bars or high level coffee bars, because they raise about 3 to 4 inches over here. 4 inches center, and they're very narrow, which I wanted to, because I love going between traffic. I love filtering. And the only thing that stops me on my KTM is the wide bars, which I love because you can throw the bike in the corner quite easily. But I'm missing just sometimes this much on each end, you know, car mirrors are here and there. So this will give me perfect base for it. Plus I can put bar end mirrors on it, and that will widen them slightly just visually, but I can fold the mirror in and I can just go in between the traffic as I always do. And on top of that, I mean, look at the quality of these bad boys. If you can, camera can focus on this, it's really, really, you know, I could never ever weld bars like this and polish it to that kind of level. I think it's fantastic. I spotted that bars and I just, you know what, I got them straight away. I got them on eBay, not specific brand, I can't remember, you know, the brand. It was, there's, if you search high level bars, you find them, they were either 30 or 40 or 50 quid. I can't even remember because I got them a few weeks back. But this is what I'm gonna fit today, because I got the levers and I got some grips as well, and I changed the brake line because the existing one is way too long. So yeah, let's put them on today and I'll show you how it looks like. Yeah, I already took the old bars off before, just to get ready for that. But that actually brings me to my previous point I made in the very beginning of this video, to encourage you guys to work on your own bike and to customize it. Even if you want to go to a full-on project like this one, because let's face it, full-on project is a lot of work. Yeah, don't underestimate it. It's a lot of fucking work. It's very rewarding and I love it, but it's a lot of work. But if you're just starting out and you got a bike already and you want to modify it, you want to customize it a little bit, then go ahead. You want to change the handlebars on it, go ahead and do it. You want to change the indicators for something a bit more modern or a bit more funky, go ahead and do it. It's not hard. It's really not that difficult, you know, and you'll be amazed how quickly you develop the skill to do anything else with whatever you do. So once again, if you got a bike and you want to modify anything on that, obviously make sure you're doing a good job, because you're going to be riding this bike. It's your rest that's on the line. Then by all means go ahead and give it a shot. If the worst case scenario, if you mess something up, you bring it back to your original, you know, and yeah, no love lost. But by all means, if you want to modify it, fuck yeah, go for it. Right, let's put these bad boys on. Before I do so, I always like to put a little bit of tape in the middle of what I'm doing, because that's a brand new part and I'm not quite sure exactly where I'm gonna mount it, so I don't want to scratch these mounting points, these razors. Each bike is a bit different, you know. The handlebars mount a bit different way. You got clip-ons and razor bars and this and that, but this got some razors and I'm not quite sure exactly what it's gonna be. I need to twist it one way or the other, and I don't want to scratch the beautiful chrome straight yet away. So I'm gonna put some protection here, because I'm gonna put some controls and levers and electrics and that later on, so I need to remove it anyway. It's only a 5-minute job and we take it from there. So there we go. That's more or less the position I want it to be. Yeah, a bit more tape on this side. Obviously, if I was working on a brand new bike, on my own bike, I would protect the petrol tank with some kind of towel or some other shit, but the bike's gonna be repainted anyway, so I don't care. I can just whack it and no love lost there. Right, enough talk, let's put it back here. See if we can make something out of it. And if we can, what's it gonna be? It's only 4 bolts, it's not too difficult. As I said, it's only temporarily for now anyway, because the whole thing is coming off, you know, and it's only dry build as I said before, so there we go. Well, that's straight away not bad, but I can see it's a bit pissed. So I'll move it this way. And that's what I'm talking about. That's why you put a bit of tape there, because you always adjust it. Squeeze it in, take it off, move it up and down. That's probably not the final position. By all means, I'm gonna probably move it around another 100 times, but so far so good. Just visually inspect. Before I tied it up properly on the last build, I'll make sure that it's dead on in the center in each and every single way. But right now just visually inspect it, whether I like it or not. I mean, I can always go for different bars, but I like these bars a lot, so I think I think that suits the bike a lot. Yep. Right, so there we have it. What do you think? I think I'm gonna keep them. Definitely gonna keep them. It looks just right with the whole line of the bike. It kind of narrowed here and then just widen all the way to the bars. They look very, very narrow, but I'm gonna put, as I said, handlebar mirrors in there as I can quickly flip in going through traffic. But the whole concept of that, it looks really like I wanted. It's got this aggressive horns pointing forward, and they sit just right this level. I can always drop them down a little bit, depends how the riding position is going to be. I'm going to sit my ass on it in a minute, don't worry about that. Lights coming back on soon. But yeah, that's a good looking lines. Definitely keeping these bars. See how it handles yet, but changing handlebars, as I said, is a 5-10 minute job. And that's staying on for sure. Oh yeah. On top of that, I got some new grips. I went for a regular Coke bottle rubber, lovely feeling rubber. Coke, they call it Coke bottle grips, already with a hole for bar and mirrors. Classic look, nothing fancy. I really like that, so I'm happy with that. And I got some new brake and clutch levers with reservoirs. What I went for over here, I mean, these are not the cheap Chinese £5 kind of lever, because they would just snap off and they're made of plastic and lipstick. You don't want that. Oh, get off. But they're not, you know, Rizoma kind of, you know, £800 a set, you know, because I just can't simply afford that. It's difficult to do with one hand holding the camera, but I'll do my best. It kind of slightly modern look to it, but they're kind of classy. Oh, let me get rid of that. There you go. So as you can see, they got a slightly modern look to it, but they're not exactly over the top, and I kind of like that. And they're all black as well as the grips and the actual electric controls. And I went for black instead of any other color because I got the chrome bars, and I wanted to keep that contrast. I don't want everything to be just completely black or completely other color. It just doesn't work. I think controls on a bike, they look good black, you know, on a custom bike. If you get any other color, you can get away with it, but you need to balance it somewhere else. Because I'm not sure what the tank color is going to be, I went for a black. I mean, you can't go wrong with black, can you? So yeah, let's install them as well, fit them in, and see how the whole thing look like then. I'm gonna remove the clutch cable later on, fit that in, throttle cable as well, and put them on there. See how it presents itself on the new bars. Well, don't know about you guys, but I quite like that. I think that's got a good balance of black and chrome. I'm gonna polish that aluminium triple tree as well, and fork's gonna be silver as well, because the aluminium, I'm not gonna cover them with anything. I'm not gonna paint this, I'm gonna just polish that. Maybe put gaiters over here, I'm not quite sure yet. But just the whole thing, it looks, I think it looks just the part. You got black, chrome, really nice bars, and they sit just right. Just need to get this bar and mirrors over there on each side, tiny little round ones, so they sit on each end. That will make the whole thing a bit more width on the bars, but other than that, I think that really suits the bike. Yeah, next job is to bleed the brake. That's not plastic, that's all aluminium. So I said, you know, they're not cheap Chinese copies, but they're not exactly super expensive. But it doesn't matter, they work. If they break, buy new ones, you know, as simple as that. But I really like these bars. That gives the bike another stance, another kind of you can't really see them from this every angle, but from here they really stands out nicely. Got these little horns pointing forward, and they don't drop too much, they level, and when I sit my ass on the bike, it feels just right. It's good position on it. It's doesn't kink your wrist one way or the other, or doesn't put too much stress on it. It's just nice and firm grip, which I really like that. What do you think? I think that's a win. Yeah, since nothing's ever simple, clutch needs to be adjusted slightly, but that's not the end of the world, as I've got some room to adjust it here, as it was a little bit sloppy. The reason for it is the distance from the actual clutch housing to the when the nipple fits in. It's slightly shorter on this new lever than it was on the other one. The old one was slightly longer, so I got about 10-15 mil of slack. That's fully adjusted. I don't want to stick it out anymore, but I got some room to adjust it over there, so we're gonna deal with it now. The other thing was, while we on it, this original brake hose was about 7 meters long. I have no idea how it was this long. It was wrapped around the headlight twice originally, so I'm not having that. I'm gonna just, since I'm not using this caliper, not caliper, sorry, the brake lever with the master reservoir, I'm just gonna undo it over there and replace it with a new one. I've got a right one, I think is about 110 centimeters. I measured up exactly, so I know it's right. Braided, really nice brand new cable lead, so brand new hose. So I'm just gonna bleed the whole system right now. Give you a sitting position kind of view, so you see how the hands go on the bars. Don't know how well you can hear me from a distance, but this is good. I mean, that feels just right. Sitting over here, having a higher bars wouldn't be right for the bike. Having too low bars, it may look cool, but it would be really uncomfortable longer distance. And I'm all about everyday riding. I ride bike every day, and this is kind of a good position because it's straight level, doesn't drop too much, but it feels natural. As I said, my hand goes straight, my wrist is not kinked in any way. This is good, I like that. That's a win, definitely good choice. Definitely good choice. Rock and roll, that's it. So, there we have it. Handlebars choice. High level ace bars or clubman bars or coffee racer bars, you name it. They're slightly different than anything else, and they just what I wanted. I think they do their job perfectly well. They suit the bike just fine. Not exactly a huge video, but that's not the point. Just want to go back to what I said before. If you want to modify your bike, if you want to start the project, do it. Go ahead. What's the worst thing that can happen? You fail, then you start again, you know, at least you tried. But be sensible about it. Make sure you do quality work and don't cut corners. I see so many different YouTubers, I don't consider myself a YouTuber, but you know what I mean, people building bikes or doing some modifications, and they got a ridiculous amount of subscribers, like 25 and 50,000 and even higher amount of views. And they produce really shitty work. I mean, sometimes I watch them and I just cringe. I mean, how the hell do you even consider that done? This is not even half done. That's, you know, 5-year-old would do a better job of welding and this and that. I don't claim to be an expert, far from that. I never learned any of this in any schools. Everything I do here is self-taught. But I do things to the best of my ability. I try to produce the best quality I can. Which is not the highest quality, I agree, but I'm quite proud of what I do, you know, and if you take pride of what you do, you produce a good result, you know. You don't do it first time, you do it second time. If you don't do it second time, you redo it again. You get the point. And on that note, thank you very much for watching. Rock hard, have a beer, and I'll catch you next time.